Tonight, how the Territory failed to make the grade in the latest State of the States report. The Australian first neighbourhood safety program to be rolled out across the Territory. The homegrown gin that's set to take the taste of the Territory to bars across the country. A teenage driver in custody after hitting two males with his car at Girraween. And a milestone moment for the great-grandmother taking a stand over fracking in the top end.
This is 9 News Darwin.
Good evening. The opposition has slammed the Gunner government over the latest report on Australia's economic health. It ranks the Territory as the nation's worst performer. But according to the experts, it's not all doom and gloom.
It's a wooden spoon for the Northern Territory.
We look at 8 indicators of economic performance, and on 6 of those 8 indicators, the Northern Territory ranks 8th.
Finishing last in unemployment, construction work and housing finance when compared against its own 10-year average.
Population is failing to grow, and of course if population's going backwards, that means fewer demands in terms of the housing sector. It constrains retail spending, it constrains momentum in terms of the economy.
Gunner has been in charge for the last 4 odd years. They've had the opportunity to fix the Territory economy, they haven't.
But the government still has the potential to be the comeback kids.
There's lots of challenges ahead, particularly with a global health pandemic, but I think that our future is very bright.
It's not all bad news though, with the Territory performing well in areas. According to the ComSec report, the NT ranked 5th on relative economic growth, beating New South Wales, Queensland and South Australia. The Territory also recorded the biggest real wage growth, which helped provide a boost of nearly 5% in overall retail spending for the quarter. Experts say while there's room for improvement, the outlook is positive.
Job creating sort of type projects will provide sort of momentum for Northern Territory to again scale its way up the economic leaderboard.
Amy Clements, 9 News.
Territory kids are set to learn the important lessons of stranger danger and neighbourhood safety in an Australian First initiative launched today. A new, free interactive program is being rolled out across the NT, already catching the attention of other states.
This is Nate. Nate wants to start walking to school.
A rite of passage that can make parents a little nervous.
We need to make sure that we're always on the front foot when it comes to keeping kids safe.
Those conversations now to become easier for Territory families. Enter Neighbourhood Watch for Kids, a free and fun online learning portal helping caregivers prepare children to travel independently in the community.
The information that we really want to get across to children is the 3 R's, so recognise, react and respond.
Created by Neighbourhood Watch NT, the learning tool boasts interactive games, engaging resources, as well as a virtual suburb. It's there parents can help their kids plan walking or riding routes.
They are able to work out the best places within their area that are going to be safest for their child to go.
The program addressing a range of scenarios from stranger danger to safely crossing roads.
We fully endorse every parent to get on board with this.
NT Police and Neighbourhood Watch today denying the initiative was in response to concerns over suburban crime. Instead developed to fill a void left by the Safety House program, disbanded in 2018. Neighbourhood Watch for Kids is a first for Australia, already sparking keen interest from other states and territories. Victoria launching its own version tomorrow, based off the Territory's model.
These small steps are incremental to making kids and our community safer.
The program is now live. Visit nhwforkids.org.au. Talia Sav, 9 News.
9 News has been given a preview of Darwin's first locally produced gin, which will hit shelves tonight. Made with uniquely top-end botanicals. Orders are already on the way to capital cities across Australia for those wanting a taste of the Territory.
It's a tasty first homegrown gin distilled at Charlie's of Darwin in the city, with flavours only from the top end.
Gooseberries out from Wallagi, rosellas from Howard Springs, paperbark from our Kakadu.
Everything that we've
being distilling is less than 3 hours drive away.
Distillers risking life and limb for nothing but the best.
When we were collecting water lilies out at Kakadu, to collect them you would throw a log into the water to scare any crocodiles that might be there.
The product is being sold at bars and clubs across Darwin, while orders are also right now on their way to Melbourne and Sydney. And if you've got taste buds like Rebecca, it's sure to hit the spot.
One day I'd like something really citrus forward, and then the next time I want it sort of really dark and moody that will go in my Negronis.
From March, gastronomy tours will also be on offer to taste test, blend and take home your very own signature gin.
I love flavours. So this is why we decided that this was going to be a fun thing and, you know, to play around with it. And then I saw a gap in the market. I thought, oh, no one else is doing it. Let's do it ourselves.
Darwin Gin has been in the works for years now, and today, finally, it's hitting the shelves, bottled and ready to take home. But you can always try before you buy. Thank you.
I'm pretty proud of this. I think it is very Darwin.
Zarisha Bradley, 9 News.
A teenage driver is tonight in custody after a 17-year-old boy and 23-year-old man were struck by a car on Staines Court at Girraween around 7:30 last night. The younger pedestrian was treated at the scene, while the other was taken to Royal Darwin Hospital as a precaution. Police say the trio was known to each other. Charges are yet to be laid. NT Police have slapped 5 people with $5,000 fines for breaching self-quarantine last month. The travellers were in the Territory prior to the Sydney and Northern Beaches hotspot declaration, ignoring orders for those who arrived in the NT after December 18 to get tested and isolate while awaiting results. More than 36,000 compliance checks have now been completed, with 169 fines issued. Today marks a year since Darwin great-grandmother Rosemary Jacob began her weekly anti-fracking protest outside Parliament House. Rain, hail or shine, the 85-year-old law graduate and former maths lecturer turns out each Wednesday to oppose the government's green light on fracking.
With coronavirus taking over the headlines, people were going to forget about climate change, and we can't afford to. So that was basically what was behind it.
As long as her health permits, Ms Jacob says she's committed to another year of protesting. To Canberra, and with Parliament about to resume next week, there are new tensions tonight in the federal coalition. Former Deputy PM Barnaby Joyce says the National Party is being treated unfairly by its senior partner.
Unruly miners can be hard to control.
Just hold on.
And so can the minor party of government.
The National Party can get a better deal.
Barnaby Joyce argues the coalition between Nationals and Liberals is now just a marriage of convenience, and that's hurting the electoral prospects of both parties, and that the junior partner has been dudded on ministerial portfolios.
So I wouldn't be kicking up the dust if I thought everything was A-OK. I wouldn't be kicking up the dust if we hadn't tried quietly to resolve this.
His leader doesn't agree.
Seeing as though he used the word marriage, it's actually a marriage of strength, and we work well together.
But the government's internal bickering pales beside its twin external threats of COVID-19 and China's one-way trade war with Australia. Beijing has weaponised trade, imposing sanctions on billions of dollars of our exports. So a line from a speech by the Chinese president overnight has bemused Canberra.
The strong should not bully the weak. Decisions should not be made by simply showing off strong muscles or waving a big fist.
We agree with that sentiment. The big nations should not bully small ones, but there seems to be a bit of a disconnect between the words and the actions. The reality is Australia has been on the receiving end of some pretty harsh actions when it comes to our trade.
A case of do as you say, not as you do. Chrissy Allman, 9 News.
The world has now surpassed 100 million COVID-19 cases, and the UK is feeling the full effects, marking 100,000 deaths from the virus. Boris Johnson says he takes full responsibility for the UK's disastrous toll, and authorities expect many more lives to be lost before the pandemic's over.
100,000 faces, 100,000 families, millions of broken hearts.
It's the most harrowing experience of my life, and it will haunt me.
Gordon Bonner's wife is just one of the victims in what is now a 6-figure death toll.
It's hard to compute the sorrow contained in that
grim statistic.
A statistic that was unthinkable in the early stages of the pandemic when the aim was to keep the tally below 20,000.
That is the hope, that we can get it down to that.
That goal was blown out of the water within 5 weeks, the number reaching 40,000 during the first wave before beginning to plateau. The second, more deadly wave has seen a doubling from 50,000 in just the past 76 days.
I am deeply sorry for every life that has been lost. As Prime Minister, I take full responsibility for everything that the government has done. We truly did everything we could.
Our government has been behind the curve at every stage, slow into the original lockdown, slow to provide protective equipment, slow to provide testing.
COVID-19 has now claimed more than twice as many lives in this country than the Blitz did during World War II, and the pandemic is far from over. More than 1,600 of the deaths were recorded in the past 24 hours alone, and authorities warn there'll be many more to come.
I think we have to be realistic that that is going to happen.
Many more people to be left with just photos and memories.
The greatest gift of all was the total loyalty, love and devotion that she brought to our long marriage.
In London, Ben Avery, 9 News.
Donald Trump's second impeachment trial's a step closer tonight after senators swore on oath to judge him fairly. But the trial is a sideshow for Joe Biden, who today ramped up his virus response.
They were the targets of a violent mob. Their lives threatened, their offices trashed.
Do you solemnly swear?
Now these senators will decide the fate of former President Donald Trump, who's accused of starting that riot.
So help you God.
50 Democrats and 50 Republican senators today swearing to judge fairly during next month's impeachment trial. But the Trump trial is background noise for Joe Biden. He's being judged on his handling of the COVID pandemic.
We will increase overall weekly vaccination distributions to states, tribes and territories from 8.6 million doses to a minimum of 10 million doses.
The United States will buy another 200 million doses of vaccine and will hand out an extra 400,000 doses a day.
So this is going to allow millions of more Americans to get vaccinated sooner.
The Vice President receiving her second jab, but millions still can't. When it comes to vaccine numbers, the states, like here in California, are flying blind. Their governors have no way of knowing how many doses are on the way. That is until now. Today, Joe Biden promising clarity.
We'll now always have a reliable 3-week forecast.
Case numbers across the country are slowly dropping, but the pandemic plan is being threatened by a new, potentially stronger strain, this time from Brazil. As a result, all travellers will soon need to provide a negative COVID test to enter the country. In the United States, Michael Genovese, 9 News.
More than a decade after she fled Australia, Malka Leifer will be touching down in Melbourne in a matter of hours. The former school principal's facing 74 counts of child sexual abuse against 3 sisters. Leifer will appear in a Melbourne court tomorrow. A couple expecting a baby, out walking their dogs, coming their way, a teenager with a bad record behind the wheel of a heavy 4-wheel drive. The tragedy that followed was devastating. The 17-year-old now charged with murder.
Catherine Ledbetter and her partner Matthew Field at Christmas. Proud parents-to-be with a photo of their unborn child. Catherine was 6 months pregnant. The couple were walking their 2 dogs when they were killed after a 4-wheel drive ran a red light.
I just think 3 people, 3 lost is just huge. It's not an innocent accident.
Shortly before the accident, Dashcam caught the stolen Land Cruiser at a set of lights.
No, don't laugh at me,
The 17-year-old behind the wheel, clearly agitated and intoxicated, gesturing at another driver.
Oh my God!
The Land Cruiser sideswipes the Hyundai and tears off.
Follow.
15 minutes later, the 17-year-old runs a red light and smashes into a truck, which then hit Catherine and Matthew.
I was right here and it came flying down here about 130 k's. Pretty bad, it was horrific.
The 17-year-old fled the crash and tried to steal another car, but was tackled by the owner.
give him a kick or two, put him on his face and held him till police arrived.
One of the couple's dogs, Frankie, ran from the crash. Locals and friends rallied and formed a search party. Frankie was eventually found in nearby bushland, suffering from a pre-existing condition, and had to be carried for the trip to the vet.
Here's two people going about their business innocently on Australia Day, walking their dogs. They should be entitled to do that. And now to have them ripped away from their families is an absolute tragedy.
The 17-year-old has been charged with 2 counts of murder. At the time of the crash, he was on bail for driving offences, including evading police. Catherine and Matthew had been together for 4 years. They were expecting their first child. Mark Burrows, 9 News.
All right, let's have a check of the weather with Zarisha Bradley now. And Zarisha, any monsoonal activity today?
PT, this morning the top end received heavy rain and strong winds. This is associated with the tropical low forming over the Kimberley. This afternoon the weather did clear up, Mother Nature taking a bit of a break, but the monsoonal conditions are expected to pick up again from tomorrow, PT. I'll be back later in the Bulletin with your full forecast.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Zarisha. Ahead in 9 News, survival stories from the disaster zone. No escaping a deadly tornado's path as it destroys home after home. Plus, see the moment a pilot makes a dramatic emergency landing. And how your favourite music could stop you getting a speeding fine.
The ultimate act of betrayal.
She took everything from me.
Valerie's granddaughter promised to care for her. Instead, she took the lot.
I have lost my home.
A family torn apart.
I'm very hurt.
Give Mum's house back, Sam, and stop it.
A current affair next.
It's such a sacred place. Something really special about it. Wonder if you can text and segue.
Here's the dead centre.
Oh, wow.
Of the Red Centre.
This is the Australian dream.
The greatest Aussie holiday of all time.
Where's the bathroom?
Where is anything? The travel guides hit Uluru.
He looks like Grandma.
Tonight, 7:30 on 9.
We're here for when the heavens open and the winds howl. We're here for when the water just won't stop. We're here for the wet and we're here for the dry. We're here because we know there's nowhere else you'd rather be.
And there's nowhere else we'd rather be either. TIO Home Insurance. We're for Territorians.
Harvey Norman Summer Sizzlers. Enjoy summer at home with a SodaStream Spirit Sparkling Water Maker. Now just $68, save $35. Add on Pepsi flavours for just $5 each. Dyson Hot and Cool Fan Heater. Powerful airflow, only $499. Westinghouse Quad Door French Door Fridge. Dark stainless steel finish, now only $3,688, plus get $250 cash back. Get 60 months interest free and receive a bonus gift card up to $500. Now at Harvey Norman.
It's sweet and so irresistible. Take your summer pick-me-up to the next level with a delicious McCafe flavoured iced coffee. Drive through today.
A wet season day, 19th of February, 1942. Imagine 188 enemy aircraft in an attack on Darwin that left hundreds of servicemen and civilians dead. Take time to remember our National Day of Observance, the commemoration of the bombing of Darwin. 9:30 a.m, the 19th of February, at the Cenotaph.
9 News Darwin, proudly brought to you by TIO, Insurance for Territorians.
The lives of our most vulnerable are on the line in school zones, but more and more of us admit to missing speed signs. That's why safety groups are teaming up with a music giant to harness the power of sound instead of sight to keep us from speeding.
Moving
Welcome to music. It's basically second nature, but a new concept uses songs to slow us down.
It's guaranteed, I think, to get people's attention.
Spotify, the international music streaming juggernaut, has teamed up with Aussie road safety groups and local artists to bring us the Slow Down Songs campaign. And just as the name suggests, it slows the music down and alerts us with this message around schools.
This slow down song is to let you know that you are now near a school zone and will need to slow down to 40 when you enter it.
Having things like this helps to mentally switch people back on as they're entering those zones.
About 48% of people, almost half of the people, admitted to speeding because they didn't realise that the speed sign had changed.
So here's how it works. If you're using Spotify in your car or while you're cycling and come within 5 kilometres of a school, 1 of 10 slowed down songs will automatically slip into your playlist and play.
For now, it'll only happen to those using the free version of Spotify. Paying users won't be affected, but that's a good start, according to Principal Christine Wood.
It's the first day back, and already this morning I was witnessing parents speeding through the zone.
This is just a trial, in effect from today across Queensland, but could be rolled out nationwide. Alex Heinke, 9 News.
A tornado has sliced through a city in Alabama, killing a teenage boy and injuring more than 30. Dozens had to be pulled out from under the rubble, the twister striking as they lay in their beds.
In the middle of the night, a siren warns of what residents can't see, a tornado bearing down on the city of Fultondale in Alabama. The twister slicing its way through streets, a monster in the dark. And come daylight, its fickle path was revealed. Homes left stripped like open doll houses.
I had to push a bunch of boards off of me, sheetrock. We got out. My wife said, "We don't have a roof." And I walked to the hallway, so we ain't got no walls either.
Most didn't have time to shelter.
It flared up right there at the last minute.
And not everyone who did was safe. A teenager who'd been bunkering down in his family's basement was killed when a tree fell on the property. Guests at this hotel managed to escape as their rooms were torn apart.
I was asleep, and then all of a sudden the windows busted. I heard the screams out the hallway, all the sirens and the alarms going off.
Running across the road to a restaurant only a few metres away, but somehow spared. And among the stories of survival,
Come on, buddy.
a four-legged family member who spent hours trapped in the rubble of the family home. Authorities say the nighttime hit may have spared lives, especially at the local school.
I do believe that if we'd had people in the building, we'd possibly have some fatalities. Air-conditioned units taken out of the, just sucked out of the building. A lot of glass.
The state's peak tornado season runs from March to May, but twisters can strike there at any time of the year, something Fultondale now knows too well. Davina Smith, 9 News.
The World Health Organisation has hit out at wealthy nations when it comes to the vaccination race, claiming less developed countries are being left behind.
Vaccine nationalism might serve short-term political goals, but it's in every nation's own interest to support vaccine equity.
The European Union and Britain are fighting over the supply of Pfizer jabs, with the EU telling manufacturers they need permission to export to the UK. Italy has just days to form a new government after its Prime Minister resigned. Giuseppe Conte lost his government majority when a smaller party pulled out of his coalition. Conte could be allowed to form another coalition if he has enough support, or snap elections will be called 2 years early. A bus has careered off a cliff in Brazil, killing 19 people and injuring 31. 53 people were on board the bus when it crashed, with reports several children and teenagers are among the dead. Why it veered off the road is under investigation. Still to come, from a life of luxury to prison, the high-flying bank executive jailed over a multi-million-dollar fraud. The $500 million deal bringing our favourite brands back into Australian hands. And lucky he's wearing a helmet. The firefighter in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Water fury, Angry families forced to live with this every day.
You expect that in the third world, but not here.
A current affair next.
Australia's con of the century.
She's a criminal mastermind.
All new 60 Minutes. Back Sunday.
OMG, the MG event is now on, and there's never been a better time to buy. Get $1,000 cash back on the stylish HS Medium SUV, packed with safety tech and MG's 7-year unlimited kilometre warranty. Offer ends soon.
The Barbecues Galore Darwin showroom with the big brands in modern outdoor living. Compare the Ziegler and Brown range, plus offset smokers and low and slow barbecues. See the huge Barbecues Galore's showroom at 660 Stewart Highway, Berrima.
It's good to know TIO Home Insurance has your home covered for cyclone, storm surge and flood. Plus, they're local and you can save up to 10% when you buy home insurance and combine your buildings and contents on one policy. Get a quote now.
Stangelin knows Michael always keeps a clean home because his family video calls him every week. At Southern Cross Care, knowing what's important to you means we can tailor our home care services to help you live better for life in your own home.
At Officeworks, get ready for the best back to school ever with low prices and great savings on easy-to-use Google Chromebooks like the versatile Lenovo IdeaPad Duet 2-in-1 or the HP 14-inch Celeron.
Harvey Norman Summer Sizzlers. Enjoy summer at home with the Archie Fabric Modular Lounge Suite featuring power recliners, storage console and lights for just $2,699. Or the super comfy Gaucho 3-seater fabric sofa with twin powered reclining actions and USB ports, only $1,499. Get a sleek new look with the Gwyn 7-piece dining suite. Huge value at just $1,199. Plus get 60 months interest free with a bonus gift card. Now at Harvey Norman.
Go!
Wherever summer takes you, we'll be here.
Powerboard. Play by your own rules.
Our biggest music stars come together to bring Aussie music back to life. Performing live on stage, Tones and I, Jimmy Barnes, Missy Higgins, Birds of Tokyo, and many more. Sounds better together. Saturday 7:30 on 9.
Excitement's building for footy fans as the AFLW season kicks off in Melbourne tomorrow night. Carlton and Collingwood go head-to-head in a blockbuster opener, the first game to be played before a crowd since March last year.
Footy's back and even fierce rivals can agree there's nothing better.
Yeah, no, I think once we all cross the white line, it's game on.
It's been 321 days since crowds were allowed at a game in Melbourne. Not that anyone's counting.
Definitely excited to get back into footy.
Are you looking forward to watching a game at the ground?
Yeah, definitely.
I think everyone's just been sort of hanging out to have the women's footy back on, really. I know particularly the players have.
The 2020 AFLW season was a bumpy one. After 5 stop-start rounds, it was cancelled in March. And with no grand final, there is no reigning premier.
Anyone would like to go into a season as a reigning premier, I think, but certainly going in with a clean slate and everyone's on even pickings, it makes it, I guess, all that more exciting. And yeah, I guess no one's really got a target on their backs.
And for the first time in the league's history, all games this season will be ticketed. At $10 an adult, free for children, you will need to buy them online first. They won't be available at the gate.
It's a great thing for the game and it legitimises the competition once again.
For tomorrow night's opener at Icon Park, the ground's looking good. Behind the scenes, work on a $45 million indoor training facility is underway.
Here at Icon Park, we're going to see some of the best facilities for women's sport anywhere in Australia.
We've taken it in our stride and we're looking forward to getting out there.
Justine Conway, 9 News.
A former high-flying chief of staff at National Australia Bank has hit rock bottom. Jailed today over a multi-million-dollar scam. The mother of 2 will spend a maximum of 8 years behind bars for 30 charges of fraud, bribery and corruption.
It was a first-class life of private jets, luxury cars, champagne and holidays. But the party's now over for Rosemary Rogers.
If you're walking into court this morning, do you expect to be walking out?
She didn't. The former NAB Chief of Staff sentenced today to a maximum 8 years jail after pocketing $5.5 million in bribes to bankroll her lavish lifestyle. Her alleged accomplice at the helm of a luxury travel business was Helen Rosamond. It's alleged she paid Rogers extravagant bribes to sign off on inflated invoices sent to NAB. Those bribes included a month-long holiday to the US with a price tag of more than $500,000. Then there was the BMW, 2 boats, a holiday home, a trip to a private island in Fiji, and multiple jaunts to the 6-star Emirates resort at Wolgan Valley, which commands a price tag of $3,000 a night. Her barrister, Mark Tedeschi QC, said her actions were driven by stress.
But the continuous kickbacks began to crumble in December 2017 when an anonymous whistleblower tipped off the board of the NAB.
The bank says it's now made changes to strengthen controls, introducing additional checks on expenses. Ellie Walsh, 9 News.
Mining magnate Andrew Twiggy Forrest has vowed to boost the RM Williams workforce after returning the iconic brand to Australian hands. As Eddie Meyer tells us, the billionaire toured the bootmaker's Adelaide factory today after buying the company last year.
There's been a blocked border between this billionaire and his latest acquisition, but today the barriers came down.
I can't tell you how happy it makes us to be here amongst you guys. I want to be here, I want to give you a hug, mate. I want to give you a hug.
Andrew and Nicola Forrest spent $190 million buying back RM Williams from a French multinational that's owned it for 6 years. Now, as an Australian company again, the couple is talking about making it even bigger, growing its national and international sales. 400 people work at this factory, another 500 in their dozens of retail stores.
If we had thousands of Australians proudly working at RM Williams, that would make Nick and I very joyful.
But RM Williams is not the only Aussie brand back in Aussie hands. Bega Cheese has now officially taken over a host of familiar Australian dairy and juice products that you may not have even realised have been foreign owned. Today, a $534 million deal became official, Bega buying back brands such as Dairy Farmers, Farmers Union, Dare and Daily Juice, owned for more than a decade by Japanese Lion Dairy and Drinks.
We've always had this goal of creating a great Australian food company, and we're well on the path now with this wonderful brand portfolio, great revenues. We basically touch customers across Australia every day.
Bega is looking overseas too, taking these familiar Aussie brands to a global market. In 2017, Bega also bought Vegemite back from Kraft, earning praise today from Twiggy.
I really want to congratulate whoever buys an Australian brand back. You know, Nick and I are cheering.
They won't be the only ones. Eddie Meyer, 9 News.
A political coup's unfolding tonight. Queensland ready to take control of Norfolk Island from New South Wales. The present 6-year agreement with Sydney over management of the remote island, which sits almost due east of the Gold Coast, expires in 4 months. Queensland intends pouring $200 million into expanding the island's health and education services. Thousands of Indian farmers have stormed the historic Red Fort in the country's capital, New Delhi, swinging from poles and hoisting flags. The protesters clashed with police and breached barricades using tractors, with one of the demonstrators killed in a tractor rollover. The group's angry about proposed agricultural reform. The wrong place at the wrong time. A New York firefighter's been hit by a falling air conditioner while fighting a house fire in Brooklyn. The impact split the man's helmet and knocked him to the ground. His colleagues quick to his aid. He's now recovering in hospital. Still ahead, it was a welcome relief during the worst of COVID. But it's time to pay up. Ahead, details on the looming debt repayment deadline. From caravans to cosmetic surgery, an insight into how we're spending our money. And the final Aussie-built Holden hits the market. But this piece of history does not come cheap.
The superstars of tennis face off for a special one-day tennis event. With world #1 Ash Barty plus Rafael Nadal in 2 primetime blockbusters in one night. The Adelaide Super Slam, Friday on 9 at 9 now.
The new Ford Escape doesn't need a dramatic location. It doesn't need an expensive bike on the roof or a fancy lighting setup. It doesn't need a world-renowned music track or a focus group-approved family or a cute dog or even an expensive voiceover.
The new everyday effortless Ford Escape. No advertising trickery required.
Take your break at Dolly's with this fantastic lunch menu available. On your workday, your weekend with mates, or an after-5 treat for 2. Or start your night at Dolly's for a delicious dinner. Great Dolly's atmosphere and the laughs to make your night more than just a meal. Dolly's at Hibiscus Tavern in Leanya. Open 7 days.
You'll love the latest NAFA. It's chockers with NT Fishing. Beckoning billabongs, top-end action, jigging reefies, good gear model shoot, win a Mike Coolman fridge, plus NAFA's outdoors 4x4 travel and hunting. Grab your NAFA magazine now.
Barbecues galore Darwin at 660 Stewart Highway, Berrima, next to Amart. Entertaining this season, Barbecues galore Darwin have the big brands in modern outdoor living. And now, compare the largest Ziegler and Brown range in Darwin. Explore your own new flavours with Barbecues galore's range of offset smokers and low and slow barbecues. Stock up on wood pellets, wood chips or marinades and proudly share your new flavour profiles. See the huge range at 660 Stewart Highway, Berrima, next to Amart. Barbecue better with Barbecues galore Darwin.
1041.
Territory FM.
Never have I ever had a bite and booked a night. Ridges Palmerston offers contemporary rooms accompanied by poolside relaxation and dining options. We look after our locals, stylish facilities, territory rates and great value packages. Enjoy high teas or dinners from our Asian fusion restaurant. Madame Zha blends the freshest ingredients in a delicious contemporary menu. Ridges Palmerston, a great place to meet. Book through Tourism Top End to use your territory voucher.
The Beds Are Us Made in Australia sale is on, with Aussie-made mattresses up to half price, plus a bonus in store. Great Aussie mattresses, great deals. From Beds Are Us, the home of Australian-made mattresses.
The ultimate act of betrayal.
She took everything from me.
Valerie's granddaughter promised to care for her. Instead, she took the lot. A current affair next.
Australians who owe money to Centrelink will soon have to start paying it back as a nationwide pause on debt recovery comes to an end next week. Fiona Willan explains.
Hundreds of thousands of Australians who are given a break from their Centrelink debt will soon have to start paying it back. In April, around 1.3 million debts were paused, adding up to more than $4.5 billion. The aim was to ease pressure on people's budgets during tough economic times. But from next month, repayments will restart. Services Australia will be reaching out to people who owe money by mail to let them know their next due date. You don't need to repay the full amount of your debt in one hit. You can enter into repayment arrangements. The government is highly sensitive to the robo-debt debacle, in which more than 400,000 people were pursued for debts they didn't owe. The matter was settled in a $1.2 billion class action last year. But the government says this is a very different scenario using different methods of debt raising. So what we're talking about here are legitimate debts. And let's not lose sight of the fact that this is taxpayers' money we're talking about. If you go to your Centrelink account, you'll find a section called Money You Owe, which can be used to manage your payments. If you need help with a payment or have concerns about a debt, call Centrelink.
With international travel plans on hold, we're finding new ways to part with our hard-earned cash. From caravans to cosmetic surgery. Kate Creedon has more.
According to the Zip Weekly Spending Index, which analyses the transaction data of 1.5 million ZipPay customers and pocketbook users, there were some big changes to our spending habits in December. Many of us were ready to hit the road. Caravan sales jumped an extraordinary 242%. Motels also went up 108%, while hotels dropped 35%. After almost a year of working from home, it seems we're also ready to shed a few kilos in 2021. Spending on weight loss treatments went up 43%. We were also taking care of our mental health. Psychiatrists saw a 96.6% jump in business. Some of us got inked over summer. Tattooists seeing somewhat of a boom with sales up 52%. Tradies have also benefited. Carpenters and plumbers were busy with an 82% increase in jobs, while we were also splashing out on new furniture and homewares, which increased by 42%.
A passenger is claiming Spirit of Tasmania lost her dog while she was on board. Today, the young woman has been frantically searching Melbourne and says she doesn't know if her best friend is dead or alive.
2.5-year-old Doberman Cross Rottweiler Esther is much loved. She's Holly's best friend, and tonight Esther is missing.
I'm supposed to move up to Queensland by myself, and my dog was supposed to be there for me.
Holly spent Monday night on the Spirit of Tasmania, having booked Esther into the ship's kennel, and she says that's when her dog vanished.
At midnight I was woken up that my dog had escaped the cage and they wouldn't let me check for longer than an hour.
Esther hasn't been seen since. Taking to social media, Holly slammed the Spirit of Tasmania, saying not knowing if her dog is dead or alive is killing her. Holly claims passengers weren't asked to keep an eye out for her dog. She believes all travellers should have been told to check their vehicles before disembarking in case Esther jumped in. A distraught Holly has been searching high and low, checking pounds and lost dogs' homes across the city.
We have spoken to Holly and unfortunately we don't have her dog here with us at the Lost Dogs home. Fortunately for Holly and her dog, it is microchipped.
The operators of the Spirit of Tasmania haven't addressed how a dog was possibly lost on its vessel, saying Spirit of Tasmania is working closely with the owner and supporting her efforts to locate Esther. Holly now desperately hoping someone finds her best friend.
Yeah, I really need her back.
Maggie Rayworth, 9 News.
Attention car lovers, the last ever Holden to roll off the production line in Australia is up for grabs. It's currently attracting bids around $118,000, but experts say it'll go much higher.
It's the unicorn of cars. The last Holden ever built, currently owned by former Adelaide Holden plant worker Alex Kyriakopoulos.
I stayed there to ensure I saw that car come into paint shop. So I waited, so I didn't go home that night knowing that this was our last car.
But now the VF Series 2 SSV Redline is going to auction.
This car could very well fetch over $500,000.
Also on the block at the same sale, a rare Maloo Ute, attracting bids over $1 million. Australians fell in love with Holden when the FX rolled off the production line in 1948.
Australia's Prime Minister, Mr Chifley, is one of the first to inspect the completed model.
But it all came to a crashing halt with the end of Australian production in 2017. Some models now pulling big bucks.
We're seeing some incredible values on older Holdens and even some of the more recent Holdens as well. People want to secure a part of Australian history.
Dutton Garage recently added high-spec Commodores to their stock list and can't keep up with demand.
At one point we were holding up to 150, 160 cars in stock. That's somewhat diminished now. We're holding around 10, 15, up to 20 cars at any one time.
The auction of the last Holden ends Saturday. So the Holden line may have gone into retirement, but as the years go on, much like the engines in them, the value of these beasts seems set to roar. Alan Ruskell, 9 News.
Coming up next in sport, the Warriors lay a strong foundation in their push for finals action. Plus Wayne's replacement, the shock tip for Maroon's coaching job. And Wade's gone, but what did selectors say about Tim Payne's captaincy?
An Australia Day tragedy. The devoted young couple killed while walking their dog by an out-of-control teenage driver. A current affair next.
You get them out of bed, we'll help you with the uniforms. With brilliant basics, woven squats and shorts, just $8. Big W, every day's a big day.
Mattress Studio's famous King for Queen deal is on now. Right now at Mattress Studio, get any king size for the price of a queen or queen for the price of a double. Huge savings on top quality Australian-made mattresses, only for a limited time.
Never have I ever had a bite and booked a night. Ridges Palmerston offers contemporary rooms accompanied by poolside relaxation and dining options. We look after our locals, stylish facilities, territory rates and great value packages. Enjoy high teas or dinners from our Asian fusion restaurant. Madame Zha blends the freshest ingredients in a delicious contemporary menu. Ridges Palmerston, a great place to meet. Book through Tourism Top End to use your territory voucher.
Wherever summer takes you, we'll be here.
You prepare the school lunches, we'll protect them. With a Smash 8-pack lunchbox set, just $8. Big W, every day's a big day.
1041 Territory FM.
Barbecues galore Darwin at 660 Stewart Highway, Berrima, next to Amart. Entertaining this season, Barbecues galore Darwin have the big brands in modern outdoor living. And now, compare the largest Ziegler and Brown range in Darwin. Explore your own new flavours with Barbecues galore's range of offset smokers and low and slow barbecues. Stock up on wood pellets, wood chips or marinades and proudly share your new flavour profiles. See the huge range at 660 Stewart Highway, Berrima, next to Amart. Barbecue better with Barbecues galore Darwin.
Wake up to sleep at the 40 Winks Stocktake sale and save up to 50% off on leading brand mattresses, bedroom furniture, kids' beds and more. But hurry, the 40 Winks Stocktake sale ends Sunday. 40 Winks, serious about sleep.
You prepare them for learning, we'll help some of it stick. With Yoo-Hoo Super Mario Glue Sticks 40 grams, just $1.20 each. Big W, every day's a big day.
Apple guides hit Uluru.
Wow! Where's the bathroom? Where is anything?
Tonight, 7:30 on 9.
This sports report brought to you by Harvey Norman. Shop online, mobile or in-store today.
Waratah has delivered a timely reminder it can be a finals force this season, beating the Inform Wanderers by 38 points in their annual Australia Day clash. The Warriors went into the final term with a 7-goal lead, which helped them secure this year's Foundation Cup.
To beat them sort of gives us a big confidence boost, particularly going into the next few rounds where we play the rest of the top 5 sides.
The Tars sit fourth on the ladder, 2 points behind Wanderers. Remaining round 15 matches will be played on Saturday. Moses Mbai has decided to step aside after accepting the Tigers have not performed under his captaincy. The Tigers need new direction, and Mbai hopes his personal sacrifice will help the club end its decade-long finals drought.
It's clear the Tigers are putting everything on the line this pre-season, including their faces.
You think I look bad? You should see him.
Moses Mbai has also put his pride to the side. After leading the team for the past 2 years, he's decided it's time to give up the captaincy.
It's something that I'm really proud that I got to do. That's for sure. And you know, I gave it a good crack, and you know, we didn't have too much success, so there's no point of. You know, if you do the same thing all over and over again, it's not working, it's pretty stupid. So I think it's time to just try something a little bit different and shake it up a bit.
It wasn't an easy decision, but Mbai believes it will make him a better player.
I know it is a team sport, but you also need to get your job right first so you can allow everyone to get their job right. So I found for myself the captaincy stuff was, I felt obliged to help everyone else before I helped myself.
And his pick to take over as captain?
Jimmy Tamia's come in, obviously. He's got a pretty good record in terms of experience and success also. You know, he's won a premiership and he's played at Origin, played for his country, and he's had a lot of success. I'd like to see Jimmy at the helm, to be honest.
The horror off-season continues for Mitchell Pearce. The former Knights captain forced to have surgery on his thumb after a training incident, but he will be right for round 1. Today, Pearce was quizzed about his long-term future at Newcastle.
I'm not too sure what's going to happen there. I'm just taking it one day at a time. You never know what's around the corner. I'd love to stay here, but at the moment, you know, I'll get the operation, the Savo, and then get a good sleep, and then I'll worry about winning the day tomorrow.
Danica Mason, 9 News.
A decision on the Maroons' coaching role is imminent, and it's a battle of two. Former Queensland star Billy Slater and ex-Cowboys coach Paul Green both gunning for the job. Slater, who played 31 Origin matches, has the support of outgoing coach Wayne Bennett, along with Mel Meninga, Craig Bellamy and Cameron Smith. The QRL board is expected to rubber stamp the position when it meets on Friday. Matthew Wade's become the fall guy for Australia's historic loss to India, axed for the Test Tour of South Africa. Tim Paine's leadership was never questioned by selectors, but they did make one big call that could see another Queenslander earn a baggy green.
Mark Steckity touched down in Brisbane wearing teal, but after a call from Australian selector Trevor Hones, he now has baggy green dreams.
He actually presented me my Shield debut hat, so it was pretty nice for Cracker to give me the call. Obviously unexpected.
Steckity, a shock inclusion in the Test squad for the Tour of South Africa. Matthew Wade, the biggest casualty of Australia's loss to India.
He certainly hasn't done enough over probably quite a few Test matches now.
Tim Paine's captaincy was also in the spotlight. Sunil Gavaskar and Kevin Peterson calling for him to be sacked.
Some of the criticism he's had to endure, in our view, has been pretty wide of the mark, and in particular, some of it's been in poor taste from overseas people. We did not spend 1 minute on Tim's leadership during our selection meeting.
Cricket Australia confident the tour will go ahead and players are on board with or without a vaccine.
We're working hard with Cricket South Africa to establish all of the protocols that would sit around the environment in which the teams will need to operate.
I'm pretty lucky to be doing what we're doing, so I'm pretty happy to be travelling with an Australia squad at this times when there's a lot of people worse off than what we are.
First, Steckity has unfinished business with the Heat at a packed Gabba on Friday night after Marnus Labuschagne bowled Brisbane into their first final since 2017.
Over the last 4 years we haven't been great, so it's nice to finally give them a final.
Mark Gottlieb, 9 News.
Serena Williams says she hasn't given up hope of equalling Margaret Court's record of 24 Grand Slams, despite not winning a major in 4 years. Williams is among a host of players nearing the end of their quarantine period over the next few days.
Largely confined to his hotel room for the past fortnight, it's no surprise Grigor Dimitrov is counting down the hours.
I'm going to enjoy the food, honestly. I'm going to enjoy some restaurants and just go for a walk.
In June last year, Dimitrov became the first tennis player to test positive to COVID-19 and was bedridden for 3 weeks.
My cardio dropped a lot, so my muscles, I lost quite a bit of weight. I even thought at some point I was thinking maybe I should just take a longer break instead of putting myself in danger again and potentially contracting the virus again.
But after a long and gruelling off-season, he feels he's in the best shape of his career and ready to renew his search for a maiden Grand Slam title.
I know I'm capable of doing that. I've done it in the past multiple times, not just once or twice. That I have absolute confidence in.
There are a few standing in his way, including world number 2 Rafael Nadal, who's aiming to overtake Roger Federer with 21 titles.
I have never been obsessed about trying to be the best I just have been focused on trying to give my best in every single moment.
While at 39, Serena Williams hasn't taken her eye off a record either, a 24th slam to equal Margaret Court.
I really play right now for Grand Slams, and I love having an opportunity to even still be out here and to compete on this level.
Corey Norris, 9 News.
Manchester City has shot to the top of the Premier League, thrashing West Bromwich Albion 5-0. Could be short-lived though. If Manchester United defeats Sheffield tomorrow, they'll retake the lead. West Ham moved into the top 4 by defeating Crystal Palace 3-2, while Arsenal toppled Southampton 3-1. Zarisha has your full weather report right after the break, but she's here right now waiting for us. And Zarisha, can we expect another day of heavy rain and strong winds tomorrow?
Sure can, PT. That monsoonal activity is expected to strengthen tomorrow. I'll have all the details up next.
Nine News Darwin, proudly brought to you by TIO, insurance for Territorians.
The ultimate act of betrayal.
She took everything from me.
Valerie's granddaughter promised to care for her. Instead, she took the lot. A current affair next.
Escape for a quick, casual round of golf in the city at Gardens Park Golf Course. Bring your mates, grab a golf cart and a bucket of ice-cold drinks. It's fun, it's casual, and everybody is welcome. Check out our weekly deals. Golf starting from $10 at Gardens Park Golf Course.
Mattress Studio's famous King for Queen deal is on now. Right now at Mattress Studio, get any king size for the price of a queen or queen for the price of a double. Huge savings on top quality Australian-made mattresses, only for a limited time.
The plate clearance is on now at Bridge Toyota with incredible offers on popular models. Save thousands with free on roads across the new Hilux 4x4 range. Or how about 3.9% across the CHR, Corolla Hatch and Corolla Sedan range. Starting from $88 per week for the Corolla Ascent Sport Hatch Manual with Toyota Access. Race into Bridge Toyota, Darwin and Palmerston as these offers won't last. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota.
We've got everything you need at Mower World Darwin, stocking all the big brands and models including Husqvarna outdoor power equipment, Skag ZTR, Mazport, Yamaha golf carts, Husqvarna construction equipment, plus lots more. With interest-free periods now available to approved customers. Plus the backing of our sales, service, parts and accessories divisions, we at Mower World Darwin have you covered. Mower World Darwin, Stewart Highway Berrima, next to Camping World Darwin.
This weather alert brought to you by Fridge Leg. We've got the stock. Be cool and comfortable. Fridge Leg, your Dakin air conditioned specialist.
Hello again. We're in for at least a week of wet weather activity thanks to the tropical low forming over the Kimberley. Taking a look at today's temperatures, Darwin reached a top of 32 degrees today, the humidity hitting 98%. On the satellite, the active monsoon trough in the tropical north of the country is causing convective cloud and thunderstorms with several embedded lows. For the capitals tomorrow, Brisbane 30 and a shower or two, showers in Sydney and 24, similar conditions and 20 in Canberra, 19 and cloudy in Hobart, Melbourne, possible showers and 27, partly cloudy and 31 for Adelaide, and fine in Perth also reaching 31. In the top end tomorrow, Katherine 34 with showers and possible storms. The same conditions in Tennant Creek, slightly warmer. Alice also 35 and wet weather expected, and 36 in Yulara with showers and possible storms. On the Darwin Harbour, seas around 1 to 2 metres, westerly 15 to 20 knot winds, a high tide of 7.8 metres before 8 a.m, dropping to 2.3 metres around 1:30 p.m. Time now to check out our catch of the day. Today's winner is Jason. He caught this coral trout down at the Darwin Harbour. Great job. And don't forget to send your catch of the day entries to newsphotos@9.com.au. Tomorrow, 30, rain and a possible storm for Palmerston. The same conditions and temperature in Humpty Doo. Also 30 in Darwin with rain and a possible storm on the radar. The next 7 days, wet weather ahead with temperatures in the low 30s. The low that's just moved over Cape York Peninsula this morning isn't expected to affect the territory. PT, the wind and the rain has just started to pick up now, so bring on that downpour.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Bit of rain does us all good. Thank you for that, Zarisha. Now, let's have a look at finance. And the falls were felt by both the share market and Australian dollar today. Here is business reporter Chris Kohler.
A weekday for the share market, with big mining companies pulling the whole index downwards. Fortescue losing a hefty 6.4%. Some concern about Chinese demand, the reason behind that fall. And shares in one of last year's market favourites were dumped today. Temple and Webster down 13% ahead of a profit result next week. I should say it is still up 280% since this time last year. And the market drop would have been a lot worse if not for heavyweight companies CBA, Wesfarmers and Woolworths. They were all up around 1.6% today. And the Australian dollar also lost ground. It's buying 77.4 US cents and 63.6 euro cents.
Chris Kohler reporting for us there. Thank you, Chris. A tourist in Romania is being chased by a bear as he made his way down a mountain. Passengers on chairlifts watched the panic, screaming and shouting in the hope they'd scare the bear away. Thinking on his feet, the man used his backpack as a distraction, throwing it into the snow and getting away unscathed. Wow. The Singapore Zoo's brought the Lion King to life, welcoming its very own Simba. The playful cub is the zoo's first to be born through artificial insemination. He carries extremely valuable genes to help sustain the vulnerable African lion species. All right, that is 9 News for Wednesday. Thanks for being there. I'm Paul Taylor from all of the team. See you tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Good night.